brain.
Oh, thank God, I really need your help, mate. The fairy of quirky hope is after me. Where are you?
Brain, 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 brain.
Wait, what?
Brain, 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 brain.
I don't... What are you on about?
Brain, 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 brain.
No, I can't. I'm on the phone with you, not Skyping. Can't you just...
Here and about Playtonic Games, for those who doesn't know, is a developing studio made up of old Rareware employees who have worked on Diddy Kong Racing, GoldenEye 007, Killer Instinct, Perfect Dark, Donkey Kong Country, Donkey Kong 64, and two games that I hold very close to my heart, being one of my favorite games of all time, Banjo-Kazooie and Banjo-Tooie. These guys were legendary back in the days, but after Microsoft bought Rareware, turning it into Rare, and I'll never understand why Nintendo didn't do it, considering everything, they fell into a shadowy place called Kinect. There were also a couple of other strange stuff that happened along the way, but I'd say it's better to drive on the wrong side of the road than on a train track. So after years of waiting for a new Banjo game, Playtonic was formed, and they stated that they wanted to revive the good old 3D platformer collectathon genre. So they went straight to Kickstarter, got tons of support, from me included, and now we have Yooka-Laylee. And you know what? I love this game. Yooka-Laylee has been a bit of a tough spot lately, having a rather split group of people who have been playing it. On one side we have the people who are saying it isn't good, as it is very old school, as if they were surprised that the game turned out the way the developers stated they would have it. And on the other side, where I hang out, we have the people who love it, as it is not only a true 3D platformer collectathon that is really good, being a game amongst a kind, but it is also the game we asked for. For those of you unfamiliar with this genre, 3D platformer collectathon games are all about, well, collecting stuff. Using Banjo-Kazooie next to Super Mario 64 would be a good example. In Mario 64, the only thing you need to focus on is to collect the stars from each of the worlds, and that's about it. There are different things you have to do to collect them, but that's pretty much the game in a nutshell. However, Banjo-Kazooie has a bit more to it. Every world has 100 musical notes, 10 Gs, 5 Jinjos, Mumbo tokens and more. And these collectibles have their own functions, from opening doors to move onward to the ending of the game, to opening up new worlds. The joy of these games are the collecting part, and to use problem solving to figure out on how you can collect the certain stuff. Yooka-Laylee is pretty similar to the Banjo series. Like seriously, when they say that this would be a successor to the old legendary franchise, they were not kidding. Instead of musical notes, there are 200 quills in each level. Instead of jiggies, there are pages in cages. And who set them free?
Ukulele thing.
Shut it.
You wanker.
Anyways, Yooka-Laylee is pretty much Banjo-Kazooie with a different skin to some extent. There are a couple of key differences, the biggest being that you can use the pages not only to unlock the worlds, but also expand them. Making them, you know, not only bigger, but give you more stuff to collect, more side missions or quests. I don't really know what to call them, but it really makes the world so much grander in scale. Not so much that it's impossible to get around, but it truly makes it... The worlds are already so beautiful, and just going there and see that it artistically just gets better, it's amazing. And I think it's fully optional. I really like to do it in a sequential manner. I unlocked the world, I went in, I collected everything that I could collect, I did everything that I could do, I went out, I expanded it, and I went in and it's like, oh my god, I can do more stuff here. So I did everything I could then, but then it's like, okay, I need an ability to do exactly that, so you know what? Head off to the new world. And again, it's fully optional, you can just expand it at the second you find a new world. It's fully up to you, as long as you have the numbers of golden pages required to do so. So why are you collecting stuff in this game? Why look for these pages? Well, there's a story here, albeit not the reason why you should buy the game. It does do its job in creating a conflict. Yooka, the chameleon, and Laylee the bat are enjoying their free time as they have just finished renovating their home. But as they have started to relax, the magical book that the sassy bat found suddenly flies off to the Ivory Towers, where Capital B presides. This greedy bee and his underling, Dr. Quack, have started to steal every book in the world, to hold a monopoly on them, and to use the magical book with their golden pages for malicious intent. So our heroes run off to reclaim what's theirs, meeting and helping many colorful characters on their way to face off against the capitalist scum. So yeah, not really Shakespeare, but firstly, the story is not the main reason to buy this game, nor the selling point of it. And secondly, while the story isn't anything special, the writing is. These guys know how to make the characters stand out, and they get a big thumbs up for that. What they will also get a thumbs up for are the characters. Yooka-Laylee are pretty much Banjo-Kazooie, with a calmer and more laid-back big guy with a smaller, sassy flying friend, who is an ass to every character they meet. But again, the writing didn't make me annoyed by that fact. There are also the previously mentioned colorful characters. My personal favorites are Clara the Adventurer, Kartos the God of Ore, God, I love you guys. And yes, Capital B, who is the perfect personification of greedy video game corporations, stating that the next door will only open after 12 hours, but you can also use real money to buy the in-game currency to open it right at that point. Perfect! And while I will say that he isn't as good as Gruntilda Winky Bunyan, I believe that he absolutely had the opportunity to be so in the future, as they built the witch amazingly in the sequel to Of Kazooie, so finger crossed for the future of Yooka-Laylee. So if you want a story filled with awesome intrigue and mysticism, it's not here. Because while the writing is interesting and funny, it is mainly just that, funny. It did have a couple of times it got serious, like 2% of the writing, and for that I really wanted more. But again, I'm in the minority that preferred Banjo-Tooie over Kazooie, and because that game was way more serious and darker in tone, so obviously conversations were a bit more, I don't know, story-filled rather than just jokes everywhere. So yeah, it's something to hope for in the future, at least for me. So the story should not be the reason for buying this game. The gameplay should. And you know what? Oh my god, is it good! So as said, the main gameplay feature is to collect the many collectibles throughout the 5 amazingly awesome worlds and the hub world. There are 200 quills that you can find, and these are used to unlock new abilities, from Trousers the Snake. 25 golden pages, which, as previously mentioned, are used to unlock and expand worlds, but you have to do several different things in how you collect them. Platform segments, puzzles, fight tons of enemies, find every quill, find every ghostwriter, etc. And just saying, every time I got a pagey and that jingle plays, I always use the animation button, just like the old game. Where Banjo had Jinjos, Yooka-Laylee has their ghostwriters, all 5 of them having their different ways of capture. One simply is waiting to be found, one running away from you, so you'll have to catch it, one you need to feed, one being invisible, and finally a small fight. They've also added minecart segment, much like the Donkey Kong Country franchise, where you have to collect a certain amount of gems to get the pagey, with the help from Kartos, the God of Ore! Minigames are also a thing with Drextro, bosses for each world with an amazing final one, and so much more. The abilities that you can buy also have a wide range of variety to them. Turn invisible to get through places with cameras, create a bubble to use underwater, fly, and other stuff. I also have to say that Playtonic also made both of the protagonists useful. In Banjo-Kazooie, the bear ended up almost doing nothing at the end when the bird has learned every single ability, but here it is much more balanced. Yooka can use his tongue to traverse great distances, lick certain objects to gain abilities like spitting fire, ice, turn into a heavy lead object, etc., where the bat can use a sonar scream, fly, and create a shield around the duo. What is also brilliant, just like Banjo-Tooie, is how you can't collect everything in a world when you first get there, as certain pages require a skill that you learn in a later area. It is possible to work around the game and get the pages, as there were this flying ability that I needed for this side quest, but I simply jumped around a ton and eventually finished the objective. And I really like how the game allows you to do this, as there are no invisible walls that pushes you away. So there's a lot of good here that I absolutely love. But as there is no such thing as a perfect game, there are a couple of negatives that I have to talk about.
I'm going, fuck you.
No, wait, Kirky, please, Kirky. I have to say that the mini-games are not that interesting. You have to play them twice to get 2 pages. The second time you actually have to beat a high score, which isn't that hard, but again, they're not that enjoyable. All of them were different and some of them fun at the beginning, but they do feel like an afterthought. The minecart segments, while I do love them now, started out real rough. I think it's the handling of the cart that feels a bit stiff, but once you get used to the controls, they do get enjoyable. However, as there are only like 5 segments, 1 per world, I would prefer more to it, as again, I do like it now. The bosses are also a bit varied in quality. The first 2 ones are not that good, but the rest are decent, with the final one being a great confrontation with the CBO. And finally, and this is the biggest problem with this game, the camera. I played on PC post-patch and yeah, the camera needs some work. It feels like it's trying to stay on a certain position all the time, unwilling to let anything come between the lens and the main character, causing moments like this to happen. For the most of my 20-hour playthrough, it wasn't that bad, but when it went all ass on me, it really ruined my experience. Combat is also a bit too basic and a bit unreliable. Some enemies have invincibility frames when attacking, so at the beginning I had a few problems fighting against the bees, but once I got used to use several moves to beat them, using the sonar blast from Laylee to stun the enemies and then attack with Yooka spin attack, it got easier, but again, unreliable. However, Playtonic have already announced that they will fix the camera issues with a patch, and seeing the GIF they've shown with how the camera will work, I'd say that it will be amazing. I think I should also mention that many people seem to have a problem with the voices in this game for the many characters, as they do the same thing they did with Banjo-Kazooie, where they had those you know, stuff like that rather than voice acting, and I didn't have a problem with it because, as Playtonic said that this would have that sort of voice work, you know, it's a spiritual successor for Banjo-Kazooie. I mean, what's the problem here? It's what? Okay, still, people have a problem with it. I should at least mention it. But I do have some negatives, some nitpicks, and one of them being that the enemies in the many worlds are quite dissimilar in size. There were no huge differences. In Banjo-Kazooie there were big enemies, small enemies. Here there's just one size pretty much, and only with different skins. But they do get a pass on that for me because this is an indie Kickstarter game, but in the future I hope they will be a bit more varied. Another big negative for me, that's actually a negative, is that the transformations in the main world, you can turn into a helicopter and stuff like that, you only transform once in each world to get one pagey, and I think that's not good. I did not like that because they're so interesting in mechanic-wise, definitely the piranhas, and when you only use it once, yeah, I don't know. Make sure that you use it more than one time in the future, sequel, whatever. But the biggest negative, oh my god, the biggest Playtonic, how could you do this? Why isn't the GK rap in the intro?
Oh, it's finally time! Oh, thanks to you, it's the game revival. You helped come true. They said this seems dead. That's a load of yap, and we're here to prove it with this familiar rap.
Get it in there, Playtonic, it's super important. I need that rap every time I start up the game. As we are now talking about music, I feel like I don't really need to talk about the soundtrack of this game as all, as the musical genius behind this are David Wise from Donkey Kong Country fame, Steve Burke who has worked on Cameo and more, and finally, Grant, Hope of the Quirkiness, Kirk Hope. You know, from Banjo-Kazooie, Banjo-Tooie, Pinata, Kingdom of Amalur and GoldenEye 007, among some others. This soundtrack is legendary, and instead of going through everything amazingly about it, I'll simply state my favorite themes from the 3 different composers. From Steve Burke, I really like the bebop from the minigame, and the reason for this is that it has a very chill feeling to it, as it kind of reminded me of Hearthstone, surprisingly enough. David Wise is a bit more difficult, as I struggled in choosing between the boss theme, Armed and Dangerous, and the minecart theme from World 5, but I ended up choosing the latter one, as it just really stood out to me. And from the fairy himself, I was certain that it was going to choose the Glitterglaze Glacier's theme, the second world, but then I remember that there's been one specific theme that has been on my mind for the days after finishing the game. Never thought I was going to say this, but to me personally, Hybrid Towers actually stands as good as Gruntilda's Lair. Again, in my opinion, it's excellent. And that's what I have to say about this game overall. Excellent. Yooka-Laylee is the game that was promised to us from Playtonic Games. They went on Kickstarter to sell us the Banjo 3 game that we never got, and guess what? It is! Yes, it does have its problems. The mini games are bland. Some of the bosses are not that good. The camera is the biggest problem at this point. They've said that they will fix it, but you know, platformers need a good camera. You need to feel fully in control, and you don't really do that at the moment. Because when it goes haywire, it doesn't do that all the time, but it does a couple of times. So yeah, that's a bit of annoying. But you know, with the awesome writing, the memorable characters, the awesome gameplay, the fantastic and beautiful worlds that feel like it comes straight out of a fairy tale. Seriously, my favorite world, the second world, beautiful. The music's, I mean, it's David Wise, Steve Burke, and Grant freaking Kirkhope. Damn! And because of all of this, Yooka-Laylee will get the score of a good book out of Yooka-Laylee. I thought that was pretty smart because, you know, it's kind of an old school game and people don't really read books anymore. They read it in the electronic style. What do you call it? While playing this game, I could clearly see that this game was made by people who wanted to play it themselves. There's so much love and heart put into it. And you know what? I'm so excited for the future of this company, of Playtonic Games. I really hope they will make something like Diddy Kong Racing, only with, you know, the Playtonic characters, Clara and Kartos, the god of war, and Yooka-Laylee. I really want, just a personal thing, I said it a bit earlier, I really want the sequel to Yooka-Laylee to be how Banjo-Tooie was, without, you know, the couple of problems with how big it was, but I want it to be a bit darker, a bit more serious, not really edgy, of course, but if you've played Banjo-Tooie, you know what I mean. I really want it to be like that, and there is so much stuff that these guys can do, and I'm so excited for it, because if there's someone out there that can show the world that 3D platformers still is a thing, it's these guys, because they made Yooka-Laylee. And anyway, until the future of this company, whatever they have to show for us, I'm KingJGrim, or the KingJGrim, whatever you prefer, and I'll see you guys next time.
For fuck's sake.
Hi there, I really hope that you enjoyed my video. Thank you so much for watching, by the way. I really hope that you enjoyed as much as I enjoyed playing Yooka-Laylee, because god damn what an amazing game. Thank you, Playtonic, for making this thing that I've been waiting for so many years. I'm really proud to see my name at the credits of this game. There's so many names, but yet when I see, you know, my own, you know, being an individual that I helped this project get to life, you know, it just, yeah, I'm really happy with that. So, for those who I'm just gonna end it there, I'm still a bit unsure what in the mind I want to make. I have something in mind, but you know, I haven't started yet and it's a bit annoying, but that's just how it goes. So, next week there will be a game disc video so that I can work on a bigger project for the week after that. So yeah, hope that you enjoyed it. See you guys next time. I'm KingJGrim with KingJGrim. You know, whatever you prefer. Ha! See you guys next time. Ta-ta. Ooh, 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 ooh.